Hey guys, I'm Mr. Mike. Today I want to tell you about the active voice and the passive voice and how we use it. So let's get cracking. So in active voice, someone is doing something. Could be to something else, but someone is doing something. The subject and the verb. For example, Mr. Mike kicked the ball. Who kicked the ball? Mr. Mike kicked the ball. The subject, Mr. Mike. The verb, kicked. And I kick pretty well too. But in the passive voice, someone, the subject, is having something done to them. So how does that work? Let's have a look. The ball was kicked by Mr. Mike and he scored a goal. Goal! Yeah, the ball is the subject. And what happened to the ball? The ball was kicked. So in passive sentences, the subject receives the action. But don't they mean the same thing? Mr. Mike kicked the ball was kicked. Well, yes. Depending on where you want to put the emphasis. Mr. Mike kicked the ball or the ball was kicked and it scored a goal. So basically the passive and the active voices are two different ways to say the same thing. Trying to understand if a verb is passive or active can be difficult sometimes. So let's try one more time. Mr. Mike, the subject doing the action, kicked, the verb, the ball, the object receiving the action. That's active voice. But the passive, the ball was kicked by Mr. Mike. The ball, the subject receiving the action, was kicked, was the verb to be plus the past participle, or tredje stili, third column, by Mr. Mike is the person who's doing it, or the agent that is doing it. Passive voice. So the ball was kicked. Now that you know, it's time for you to try yourself. So, the ball was kicked by Mr. Mike. Passive voice, right? Right. How about Mr. Mike plays the piano every day? Who's doing the action? Mr. Mike. What's the verb? Plays. What's he doing every day? The piano. Plays the piano. So, active voice. Yes, you got it. The piano is played every day. See how I've got Mr. Mike by Mr. Mike? It's not really necessary. So the piano is played every day, giving emphasis on the piano. Active or passive? You got it. Passive voice. You're awesome. Mr. Mike taught maths yesterday. Really? Maths? Yes, active voice. However, maths was taught yesterday. The emphasis on maths and it's receiving the action was taught yesterday. Can you see the was taught with the verb to be in the past simple? You guessed it. Passive voice. Mr. Mike is driving away? That's active voice and that's happening now at the moment. So, bye for now. Good job. I'll see you in class.